This is drawing lesson 9, correcting your work. Correcting your work. The ability to self-correct in any field is a challenging skill to master. In fact, it is an attribute of genius. As you carefully measure with the needle, use the plumb line, and cite angles, you're training your eyes to judge more correctly. Eventually, you'll be so confident that you will rarely need to go to such lengths to create an accurate drawing. Slowly, through careful checking, you'll begin to see patterns of where you're consistently prone to veer off in your own unique way. For example, I often initially draw my figures long-waisted. It's important to correct the weakest or least finished areas of the drawing first. It's natural to want to keep reworking the best areas of a drawing in hopes that they will be strong enough to support the whole piece. However, that rarely works. The most effective way to improve a drawing is to make sure each part reflects your full capacity as an artist. This drawing transcends the medium. We look at it and see the soft texture of feathers rather than the hard graphite used to render them. I remember working on a portrait painting once that was an artistic disaster. I was in complete despair and getting ready to start over. I slowed down and deliberately focused on each area, one at a time, starting with the worst area and working until it became the best area. I found that by methodically working out the worst kinks, I was able to bring the whole image up to the same level of finish. By the end of the process, that portrait was the finest I had completed up to that point. Appraise your work critically. Revisions are part of the process. Your drawing will gain accuracy slowly by the careful application of measurements. I tend to reach for the hatchet where only a scalpel is needed. Yet I have learned that a drawing can feel terribly, even irreparably wrong when what I'm seeing is just the compounded impact of many small inaccuracies, all of which can be collectively and successfully addressed. The block-in lines are visible even at the conclusion of this drawing. We can follow the artist's logic. The interlocking relationships are articulated with each individual part of the drawing remaining connected to the whole. Refreshing your perspective. For better or worse, we only have a brief window of opportunity to see and correct mistakes in our work. Over time, we tend to become acclimated to the inaccuracies in our drawing and are unable to see things clearly. Elements that are stilted or distorted can look or feel correct. One simple solution to this problem is to take a break every now and then and remember to stand back from your work occasionally. Looking at a drawing after a little time has passed will give you a fresh perspective and make it easier to assess what needs to be done. I know from experience, however, that this clarity of sight can result in panic and a lot of hastily made corrections. To curb this temptation, I recommend taking out a piece of writing paper instead. Create a list of everything that jumps out at you as wrong. This list can include such things as the head feels too narrow, the lines are too dark, some angles need transitions, the tone in the background is spotty, and so on. Rather than making hasty changes, you can use the list to methodically and rationally make improvements. Make a habit of pursuing accuracy. You have a window of opportunity to make corrections. A tired eye will not catch mistakes. Another way to get a fresh perspective is to ask for a critique from friends. Most people have a maddening ability to see inaccuracies correctly in a piece. Other time-tested tricks include looking at your work upside down, that's my favorite one, or reflected in a mirror. These practices can help extend the freshness of your vision by allowing you to see the work in a new way. This is essential because most work gets better, not by magic or willpower, but by a series of strategic revisions, improvements, and corrections made throughout the development of the work. So for your assignment today, I want you to choose one of the drawings that you've already completed and turned in to me, and I want you to go back to it and find inaccuracies using the strategies that we've discussed. And then I want you to work on perfecting your artwork, okay? Make a list. What are the things that jump out to you? What are the things that are wrong that you see now that you haven't looked at it in a while? Make a list and then work on fixing those little inaccuracies one at a time. If you need to turn your paper upside down so you can get a fresh perspective on it, that's something that works really great for me because sometimes something just looks a little bit off and you can't figure out exactly why. and then you flip that paper upside down, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, the eyes are like way not lined up, or whatever it is that you're drawing. You can find those mistakes, okay? So all you're going to do is just take a drawing that you've already completed, and you're just going to go back and work on fixing it and perfecting it a little bit more, okay? And then you're going to turn that into me.